Morning, guys. So, some would say, well, you're behind the eight ball, you didn't know what was going on, but I can't confirm this, but let's just say it seems to make sense. So if you look through my videos, you'll notice that on Friday, add one, take one, the day before the Baxathon, I had a visit from Michael. Remember the imposter who actually is called Tessie? Works for the council. He approached this land and me in June. Sort of just a cold, sort of like a cold calling, let's say. He wanted to go hunting. He was a local who's just been recruited by the council and managed and happy to be home. He's from Kumara. And he had a man in his car, a young man who, because we had a conversation about the building I was doing, and he assured me that he was not crooked, but a little bit, flexible on some of the rules, because he said himself that he didn't register his dog. So that sense of, safety and security there, So I'm sure in hindsight I probably said too much to him, but and his friend walked in here and helped me design the wiring for my solar, and it's just one phone call and he comes and hooks it up. I'm still going to do that because your enemy will come and bless you. So that's Tessie. So then he went down, he talked to Des, and he got the okay to hunt here. There's no one else that's got the okay to hunt here except my friend Gary, who sighted in his rifle, and I'm pretty sure Brian could do the same. He wants to come and sight his rifle one here. And people basically, Des has said, would need to let me know. So I need to know who's here on the land, and they give me a text. So Tessie's been pretty good. One time I went for a drive and I saw a rust-coloured vehicle. I forgot what vehicle he had, and I was just about to send a message to Des to say, who is that vehicle up there? And he said, and I got a message from Tessie saying that he was here hunting. No, he called himself Tessie 3 months ago. And I noticed about, what's exactly the 10th of October, that he was here. Wanting to hunt and sending me a message around about 11, going on 12 o'clock, saying, is the gate open? Well, I was in bed and I never opened it, but the message was strange because he said he was Michael. He said, kind regards, Michael. Suddenly he went from familiar to stranger, and I'd just been posting about the imposter. So the Lord gave me the word, the imposter, at that time, and that was when I clicked that his name was Michael and he was an imposter. See, that's Michael there. See, that's Michael. He has a lion's mane. Anyway, this is Grace's page, and she sent this to me before the Jabathon. And I haven't watched it, and I've just watched it now. She's just freaked me out by saying happy birthday. Now, my birthday's not till tomorrow. See? Oh, it's tomorrow, isn't it? And I checked. Yeah, it is. I freaked out for a minute there. I haven't had a birthday present from God yet. So I get a birthday present. Hey, if this is my birthday present the day before, I'm happy because I feel so well looked after. Because I've looked at this video. Now, hopefully I have time to play it. And do listen, do watch all the way through, because this is an example of how they could be working. I could be wrong, I could be right. Could be wrong, I could be right. But who cares? They will do this. So the day that I was concerned for Gary, because Gary is a public figure who actually on Friday stood there with a sign and was approached by someone aggressive. And apparently they did statistics of the 200 cars that went past. 37 of 7, oh, is it? No, he said 16% of them, 200 cars, 16%, they've counted them. And they were there for a period of time, honked their horns, and honked them for a long time in support of the message that we're holding in front of their cards, silently, and they had little peepholes for their eyes. But Gary didn't hide his face, and even saw his next door neighbour. So I'd said, you're cool, but you're welcome to come up here in case they go door to door. Now, I had not watched this, but all I knew was that in every likelihood they would be sending out teams, because these Vs are just about expired. And this is what this lady confirms. She used to be with the advanced party, and she may still be, but I don't think, well, either way, she's a face and she's lovely. She lives in Nelson. So I'm going to play that at the end, but what you need to do is think about Tessie now calling himself Michael. Now, I won't be able to show you the message that I only just looked at in the weekend, but I will tell you about that just after I finish about Gary. So I gave him the option to come up here and stay for what I said was, let's add one, take one from the day, like the Three Little Pigs. You know how you get up and you get to the butter turn at the market before the wolf. So he arrived Friday night, and we've had almost a spiritual retreat here. And he slept in the front of the caravan, and both of us got great night's sleep. A great night's sleep. Which is good, because that's important. Because I haven't finished the build, and I didn't have a spare room for him. And he loves the dogs, and we went out. Brian turned up on the Saturday, and we mated Glory in yellow, and we put concrete down where the wheels are for the fence so it rolls. I'd put the sign up that says no trespassing or soliciting, the sign on my door. I do it for the comfort of Gary. And I've got a padlock on that gate, right? But on the Friday, the gate was open. So I'm waiting on Friday for Gary to turn up. Tessie comes in a rust-coloured vehicle, but then he turns up in this I don't know if it's brand new, but it's a very nice 4x4. And he has a big box on the back, and he has somebody else in the vehicle. And he just comes rolling through that gate, and I videoed it. He came to the window. Michael nearly bit him. Yeah, he was not happy with him. All I knew was that he's probably been V'd. That was my assumption, because Michael behaved very strangely at Gary's house with the lady next door. And when I left Gary's house, which was on the Thursday, the lady next door approached the car to look at the dogs, and I just hightailed it out there because that was the Holy Spirit. When she came outside, I hightailed back into the house. No conversation. I stood there in previous times and talked to her, but not now. There's something going on. I'll just go where the Spirit tells me to go, and I'm led to move backwards. I will move backwards. Do you understand? My body is a vessel, and he moves it where he wants it. He literally moves it where he wants it. Do you understand? Like when you're in prayer in the Spirit, and the Lord says, put your hand here, put your hand there. It's exactly the same thing, but it's praying unceasingly. It's the same thing. I've experienced that since I got saved. 30 years almost now. I could do the maths, but it was 1994. So anyway, I'm looking at this lovely text from Grace. She gets her puppy on the 21st, and I have my birthday to myself. and I think, oh, I'll play this, right? Remember, he turns up in a 4x4. What he did was he went up there somewhere. He talked to Des, went up there somewhere. I thought, there's a dog box in the back. He's got a dog. I wonder what sort of dog he's got. Wow, my gosh. Then he went down the track where the baptism was, and then they came back. And as they came back, the dogs were barking, and I had a look. I stood up by the bathroom. I've got a lookout point, right? And he'd already locked the gate when he left, so that was good. He was outside the property now. But he was leaving down the drive, and he had this dog on the top of his car, and it was a pig dog with long legs. I described it to Gary. Now, Gary said it's one of those Dagos. The breeders are illegal here, but obviously if it's crossed, it's okay or something. He's got one. I don't know if the person who's in the vehicle's one, but it was standing on the roof of the car. And I was thinking, it better be obedient. Anyway, when he stopped, it got out and was walking around. And I think it usually would just jump on the top because he was commanding it to get on the top. And it was Tessie who was commanding it, so it must be his dog. Well, it wasn't going to get on the top. And, you know, I saw it piss on one of the big rocks down there, leaving its mark. Oh, this is nothing, Lisa. Well, it is. My dogs are here, and their mark is here, and it left its mark. When I was here last year, I was thinking about barbed wire around the section. And then I went down for a walk, and Des had allowed someone to dump stuff, and guess what was there? A roll of barbed wire. So I've got a roll of barbed wire. So I'm going to pray about that one, because I may have a help. You know how Jonathan has a help? Well, I have Corey's double. The Lord has shown me he's like Corey's double. And I really, really enjoyed my time with Gary. And we spent 2 weeks on holiday, and he was only saved 2 months. And we clash. I talk over people often. I listen though, the Lord, I do listen. I think they know, but I'm like Clegg, I think, very much in personality. And I would say Gary's just like Corey. Isn't that lovely? So I'm not alone. And although my Gary is 68 and can't run, and we laughed our heads off about that, he said he'd die for me. Isn't it lovely? But yeah, he can do a martial art, and he has sighted out his rifles. So that's helpful, isn't it? And it won't be long until everyone knows, because when a car's been here 3 days and hasn't left, I'm pretty sure the town of Kumara knows. I just drove up, and Des was down the drive, and I just said to Des, oh, Gary's spending some time here because of the vax form. So I told him. Because you got to remember, Des is a policeman, our ex-cop. So, the last time I looked at my cell phone for messages from Tessie was when he called himself Michael. Now I just went over the weekend and looked, and I showed Gary, and I just get this feeling. There's another message there, and it's way back on, I realise it's way back on the 10th of June, 10 days ago, and he says, I'd like to invite you around to my place for a coffee. The guy's young. If he's interested in me in any other way, he's a bit of a cougar. But, no, I'm the cougar, aren't I? Oh, gee, I'm going to run out of power. No, that makes me the cougar. Blimmin' Gary's in hysterics, like my kids used to be, about some of the things I say. Because, like, I called them cutlet fish. And he said, they're not cutlet fish. I don't even know how to correct myself. But every time he laughs his head off, cutlet fish. Anyway, we had a good laugh. We're making plans for Nigel. So he's gone off with his tasks, and I've given him a book. He's got the Frozen book. Yeah. He's already got one of the red exercise books. I think he's put one entry in it. But that will change. And the best thing that happened this weekend is I shared a story about my husband Marty, about how we bought a big outside gas heater. My son was working at Bunnings and he talked us into spending like $400 on an outdoor heater. And that was a reduced price. It took a big gas bottle, it was shaped like a pyramid, and it had a big glass tube. And I had a friend from work who's a plasterer there, and Marty, and 3 of us were standing by it. We lit it. Flame was flying up, and suddenly the flame disappeared, and it was red hot underneath, flames outside the bottom of it. Well, straight away, me and my friend were thinking of ourselves. And we went back 6 metres knowing that it was going to be like a shrapnel bomb. Right by the house. We were in a temporary accommodation before the new house was built. We were at the end of the street. And the end of Caffness Street, 32 Caffness Street, was being built. The new house. Well, my husband Marty and I were standing there telling the story. Because I don't know what he's done, where he's at. He's a teacher. He teaches young men and women. Chances are he's had a mandate, right? He said last time I saw him that he would not take one. And he's at the mercy of the city and the expenses that he has. But he is debt-free, which puts him in a good position, but still. And he has 2 children, a grandchild, a sister, whom he loves. A sister and a brother-in-law. That's his family. And he's got them beside his son who lives up north. He's got them around him, and he wants to be there for his family. And I said, I'm your family, but that's something the Lord has to show him. But anyway, I'm talking about what Marty did. I'm saying he's a surprising man. Marty thinks I think too much of him. Like I expect too much. He thinks I think he's a man that he's not. He doesn't believe he's that warrior. I've got a picture of him in front of those they're called what hills? I forget the hills where you have to go over before you get to the Atera, which is the mountain, which is where I camped. Those hills before that, we were on the motorbikes, we stopped, I took a photo of him, and that was in the background. It was all, suddenly a storm come in. And I've had this photo that's, I blew it up, and for some reason the definition was perfect. It's very rare to be able to do that, one small photo. It's on a big canvas. And it's of Marty, and he's got a big muff up his neck, and he's in his leather jacket in front of his bike with these mountains behind him. And it's been a feature painting of the house at 32 Caffness Street. And I just adore it. And he looks like the god of the storm. And I've already said my revelation, my open eye vision was of the glory. Well, he rang me up excited, was of the latter rain. Yes, he rang me up excited. He said there was a storm in my bedroom, Lisa. There was washing wind. It was like being in a storm outdoors. And he said, and then it pelted down with rain. And he could feel it on his face, and he could hear it hitting his bedding, and everything was drenched. And when it stopped, it was dry. The veil opened. It was a supernatural experience. And he rang me in the middle of the night to tell me, and I was so gloriously, wonderfully excited, because I thought, I have found my helpmate. I have found, he's my angel beside me. Do you understand that? I was betrothed to him before I met him, the Lord told me. So that will come to pass, but I do waver, like all people. So I'm sharing the story of what Marty did when this gas bottle imploded down. It didn't go off, but it imploded, and everything was at fire in this tin safety box. Well, as I said, me and my friend backed away. Marty, he opened the door and he reached in barehanded and turned it off. And when I said that, Gary was lying down in bed here. I had, you get a witness. He gets a witness of the glory on his neck or whatever, and that happened several times when we were talking, and for me. But this one, it went from my head to my toes when I said it. So I'm going to finish with this. Now remember, Tessie turned up in a new 4x4. He normally has a rust coloured, it's an all-terrain vehicle. So listen please. Right, there are issues. Just let me put the phone down. So there are issues. See the issues? What's happened to the sound? Just bear with me.
Whoops, excuse that trip.
Okay, let's just make it easy.
New Zealand to the other, there will be teams, and this may also involve the military in some location.
Okay, we're listening. We'll just do it this way.
Hello everybody, good afternoon, a beautiful day here. I hope the sun's shining wherever you are. So crew, I'm just going to share a short message and a heads up about potentially what is happening this weekend. And
now the time frame now is Tuesday. The VFon started on Saturday and it's over. And Gary was not in the town because he's a marked man. People have said that they've seen, people have taken photos of him handing out pamphlets, right? So he wasn't at home.
Starting tomorrow, so most of us will be aware from mainstream media that there is a Vaxathon happening from midday through till 8 p.m. tomorrow. Now, we have been getting information from quite a few different sources, all giving us the same message about what's going on behind the scenes while all the media focuses on the Vaxathon, that there is a raft of teams which are being sent out over the entire country. Whoops, excuse that traffic noise. So that from one end of New Zealand to the other, there will be teams, and this may also involve the military in some locations, but there will be teams arriving at the door of people to pretty forcibly strongly encourage people to get vaccinated. Now, there will be no media coverage of this going on, and we have been told that it will be happening from both Saturday and Sunday, part of the government's big push to up their numbers, that they're stonewalled and they're really desperate to get numbers up. And so we have also had information, which I've posted on the page, that people like DOC, Department of Conservation, that their four-wheel drive vehicles are being made available for people to go into rural areas.
Did you hear that?
Up. And so we have also had information, which I've posted on the page, that people like DOC, Department of Conservation, that their four-wheel drive vehicles are being made available for people to go into rural areas. And we've also posted some information encouraging people to put a padlock on your gate, to, if you do not want to get vaccinated, to don't answer the door, don't engage in conversation.
So
we've also posted
that wisdom to put the padlock on the gate didn't come from Gary. I bought that padlock about 6 months ago, and I built the gate a year ago. And when we were working on it on Saturday, I said, Gary, do you know that you helped me get the materials for this gate? I'm the little red hen, right? Because I went and got some pallets, and there were some unusual shaped timbers that were pallets, and they were shaped like a gate, two of them, and I put them together and I put wire between them and I painted them white a year ago. So as soon as they gold miners changed the entrance and there was 3 visitors just come flying in. So under the skies of I need to keep my dog safe from people coming in thinking this is the gold mine and asking me where Alan Birchfield is, that's when I said, Des, would you help me put the posts in? And he helped me, so he's helped me as well. So what I'm thinking of doing now is, I've already done it, I'm sending this forward to Des. Des not taking the V, right? And I'm just going to see if he is a good detective or not, because he only need watch this and then think about what he saw on Friday with Tessie turning up with this new vehicle. And also the fact that he's asked me for a coffee. He's a young man, why would he do that? I mean, who am I? I mean, I know he needs to make friends with me and for me to feel safe for him to be allowed to hunt here, but he's already done that. He doesn't have to go another step. So it's a heads up from me. Now, I don't know if I want to play this whole thing. I bet you probably want to watch it. So we will.
Some information
I haven't heard
encouraging people to put a padlock on your gate, to, if you do not want to get vaccinated, to, don't answer the door, don't engage in conversation, just tell people they're trespassing, don't enter into conversation to say you do not consent to them being there and that you'll call the police if they don't leave. Don't ask questions about your vaccination status, and don't be drawn into discussion or coercion. Now, another piece of information we just received recently, which is what sort of sparked me to do a live about this as well, is that we've received information that quite a few people who have chosen... Sorry about that traffic noise, guys. So I've got the window open. That people in particular who live in households where some of the householders vaccinated and some aren't, that there have been phone texts and calls and things going out to vaccinated people where they can tell from the database that not everybody in that dwelling is vaccinated, and it's asking the vaccinated people if there's unvaccinated people in their house and do they wish for assistance to see those people get vaccinated. And
My Lord.
it would appear that from the database you can figure out households of mixed vaccinated and unvaccinated, and so these are in particular the places they'll target, particularly if vaccinated people have responded to those messages and said yes, there are unvaccinated people in their house. So remember, guys, don't get drawn into conversation, but silence is consent. So you just say firmly and strongly, no, I do not consent to this. I do not consent to you being on my property. You're trespassing. Please leave. If you don't want people on your property and you don't want to be vaccinated, you should have complete freedom of choice. It's not up to anybody else, family or otherwise, or medical teams or vaccination teams to coerce you. So place a padlock on your gate. Put up a no trespass sign, whatever you like, but unless you've given consent for those people to be on the land, they can't enter your dwelling. Don't open the door, don't engage in conversation.
Right, so what I said to Tessie when he drove through the gate, I said, I have a gate, I know it was open, I understand you drove through, but I have 3 puppies here and the gate is locked, so if you want to approach the house next time, please park on the other side of the gate and walk in. That's what I said to him. So I've said that much. But that was before I put the trespass sign up. Do you understand? So after he left, I put the trespass sign up. So he won't get past the gate. I'll say, did you see the sign? From inside the caravan. I will back away when he comes.
Could be a bit of a problem if there's vaccinated people in the house who do want to let those...
In saying that, it's not up to me to give him permission to come on the land. It's Des. That's why I will forward this and see what Des does. But he does what he does.
People in and do want to see you get vaccinated. But once again, we all deserve the freedom of choice. We all deserve not to be coerced, and we need to be able to make our own decision about what goes into our body. So if you've decided to have the vaccination, that's your freedom of choice, but it's not your prerogative to harass or to coerce other people into doing the same thing. There are many severely critical aspects to take into consideration if you're going to decide to do this, and people need to be able to do their own research and make their own choice and be free to do so without coercion. So guys, just a wee heads up that it's highly likely there will be a massive amount of vaccination teams all over the countryside, and particularly if you're in a mixed status household and they can tell from medical records that you're probably going to come under some attention this weekend. And so just be aware that you can say no, you're within your rights. Go and stay with a friend who's got the same mindset as you, put a padlock on your gate, put up a no trespass sign, whatever. And if you're in a situation where there's other vaccinated people who will...
So it's a testimony. I've got a tingle. Okay. What a difference a day makes. What a difference a day makes. I'm watching this after, and it's exactly what we did. And I will drop into Gary's and show him this, and he will be encouraged. And that's how we grow in faith and trust the Lord God above all else. We trust God before that lady. Do you understand? Trust only God.
Pressure on you to get vaccinated and you don't want to, just be somewhere else this weekend, guys. Just, get off the radar. So, bless you, everybody.
So radar, in 2019 when I was on Nigel's land, there were two horses. One was a black horse, it was Nigel's, that he was wondering why it came back to him, and he's planning on coming over the mountains from the east to the west on that horse. He knows the way. Okay, I'm still going, but my dog just stood on the plug, the switch. Okay, I'm still going. I wasn't charging, still going. And there was another horse called Radar, and it was a brown horse, plain looking horse, but it was a special horse because the man next door came over and he said, that horse, I used to own that horse, he said. I bought that horse for my daughter when she was 12, and I straight away thought of Amy. He had a daughter and he bought her that horse, and its name was Radar. Well, I was in my bed and I had a vision of Radar approaching the caravan, and when I saw Radar, this is what he did, and it goes back to the portal. He bent over like a circus horse, but then he just crippled under his legs, and he swirled around almost to a blur, like going down a plug hole, and then just poof, disappeared. That's Radar. That's the picture the Lord gave me, and this is the time to share it. You got it? It's a heads up that's way over 2 years ago. Radar. They have you on your radar, and I knew that at the time. And it was before anything happened other than the kick-off event in New Zealand, which is why we cannot speak on Facey, Twitter, and YouTube. Whether you believe it or not, our Jacinda took the platform, the world platform, and spoke with the president and the directors of Facebook. She had her meets and organised this. Have you got that?
Let's stand together, stand strong. I just, if you can handle a wee bit of strong language, I just posted up a pretty gorgeous video of an old fella. I think he sounds like he's English, and the health and safety officer at their company told them they all needed to get vaxxed or they'd lose their job, and they all just dropped tools, picked up their bags and walked for the gate. Before those employees had got to the gate, the health and safety officer had said, oh, no, and we're not going to enforce that, it's okay, come back. So once again, guys, if you stand up alone or in small numbers, they're going to take you down. But when we stand united, we can say we do not consent, and we can be successful in that. Now, I'm pretty sure that a lot of those people who just headed for the gate would include people who had already made the decision to be vaccinated, highly likely, but they stood together with their fellow workers, because it's not about whether you're getting it or not, it's about we should have the freedom to choose. We should not be discriminated against, treated as second-hand citizens, or coerced and forced upon threat of losing our job or being taken to MIQ or whatever it is. The slightly alarming aspect to having vaccinated and unvaccinated people mixed in a household is that, if the vax team is at the door, they can say the unvaccinated pose a danger to the vaccinated and remove you or coerce you because of that. They can claim you're a danger to the public health of the vaccinated, which, if their propaganda about the efficacy of the vaccine is true, then the unvaccinated should be no problem at all. But that's not the government narrative, is it? And like all the other government narratives, it doesn't add up, and the science is bogus. So do your research, jump on our website. We've got some great articles will be going up in the next couple of days, particularly around these kind of issues. But get outside mainstream media and
actually, we'll have it talking.
The adverse reaction website.
Okay, we won't. Okay, so I'll just see if I can talk through this conversation, because this is beforehand. So okay, so I started by sending this about the 2 children who went in. I think it's 2. Parents took them in for a flu, and they got an adult corona, and they've got heart problems and blood pressure. Yeah, the V given was not for the children. This is what I was getting from the Healthline. We would like to contact you regarding the COVID-19. We will try and call you today. So I just blocked that number. Okay. So I sent her that. Beware of what they may be up to on Super Saturday. Superstar. The 16th. It's supposed to be. No, it's just me, darling. The Vaxathon. It has been said by JC that they will come into your homes. Okay. Did I mean Jesus Christ? I can't remember. Probably. Trying to be. She's not saved. I'm giving a haven to someone in Greymouth. Shh, 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 shh. Okay, so that plan was made. Make a plan. Coast the town tomorrow. She lives in Reefton. And see what you can find out. They could have teams flown in, or locals they have been hiring. Now, I didn't know this. I just used godly wisdom to say this. Door to door could be likely. So then it was after that she saw this video. It's a testimony. Eventually, people will wise up and realise they need JC. They will see my testimony. Testify, testify, testify. Step out. That's in faith, I said that. Have no real idea what they plan, but the calls to every phone, I know 3 personally had the call. I happened to turn up when Brian got his. Gary said he'd had his, and I got mine. I know 3 personally had a call yesterday, and I was listed as VD, so yes, probably venereal disease, and say they wouldn't have received a call. Take care what you answer. I don't understand what I'm saying there. Don't answer. I suppose depending on your response, you would go on a further target list. I'm guessing most of this, but it makes sense. I hear of millions of Vs they bought are expiring, and they want these spiders in the arms, because they've said they had enough for us 3 times over the population. Well, having only done 64%, they've got quite a lot left. I'm guessing most of this bit makes sense. I hear millions of Vs, okay, and they want these spiders in arms, not rubbish bins. Be non-accessible. See if anyone is in accommodation in your local town. If you find out anything, I'd appreciate a heads up. You're doing this. I'm doing the same for you, right? So she sent me that. She gave me a heads up. Yeah, shit. Yep, definitely, I'll find out. We know a couple of people who live in the town and they might be able to get some information. I did have a private number ring me here today, but I didn't answer. Yeah, they rang twice. I went something and pressed block. My answer phone